Hi, Dante.
How are you?
The defense finally forced some turnovers. What do you think was the difference there? I know you've been focusing on it, but what changed?
Nothing really changed. I mean, all week we always emphasize getting turnovers in practice, and we just finally got our hands on some balls, so it turned out for our favor. I mean, stuff like that is just like you got to read your keys and be in the right spots to get turnovers and do stuff like that. So we just been kind of emphasizing it lately in practice, and we got some.
Dave on the far right.
Michigan, it's a small sample size. They average 53 points a game. What have you seen on tape? What makes this offense so dangerous?
This offense is dangerous because they got a lot of playmakers, and their O-line is very strong and very big. They can run the ball willingly. They can pass the ball willingly. So you got to be able to stop everything. They can hurt you with the deep balls and running up A gap through C gaps on the runs and stuff like that.
In the middle.
Hey, Dante.
How you doing?
How important is it to have Tarheeb back? Obviously, he's back starting this week. How important was it to have him back in limited fashion last week, but now in a starting role this week?
It really just takes stress off of the guys that are filling in his role because, when you have guys go down, the other guys' numbers go up on plays, and it's a lot of – you got a high-caliber offense like SMU. You need some of your guys that can run, your thoroughbreds that can play. So having him back out there was very good for us, and especially for our young guys like Gavin Gibson, who got thrown into the fire. It gives a little stress off of his hands, stuff like that.
Go to Heather in the back right.
Hi, Dante. I asked Coach Loxley about, kind of a message when you're playing a top 5 team, and he referenced a story about talking about grandma's mac and cheese and how it's not different on Christmas. Do you guys enjoy, I'm sure you enjoy those kind of stories, and what's the vibe like when he asks a question like that, and how easy is it to kind of take that message and realize it is just another team, even if they are a top 5 team?
Yeah, it's just, he says stuff like that to get us, grounded and not to get too big or too high or too low, things like that. The grandma mac and cheese is a great analogy. We like that one. It's it's not going to be different. It's the same every time. So it's the same thing. We're going to go out there. We're going to practice for this team. We're going out there and play. It's the same. So don't treat it any differently, things like that.
Front row to the left, Ryan.
Dante, I wanted to ask, even though Loxley says don't judge one team from another, but I was wondering what will it mean for this program to be competitive or even pull off a win against the Michigan States in the Big Ten?
It would mean a lot, and it's just more we've been trying to prove ourselves, right? Because Maryland, we don't always get the credit. We're always go try and win a game you're not supposed to win, stuff like that. You always hear that in the media. So a win like this would just give us a lot of confidence going into the next weeks every week. So, but he tries not to make the Michigan game or any other game that's big in everybody else's eyes bigger than what it is. So we play and have confidence out there.
Hey, Dante.
How you doing?
Coach said how happy he was that you and Bo, waited your turn and now you're starting. And have you guys established maybe a special relationship because you're both starting and you're both having significant roles this year?
Yeah, we started our connection when I first got here. He was the first ones that helped me with the playbook and giving me the ropes, everything. He was like a big brother to me, and we always had a goal to play together and have a connection because we have a special connection. So we were always in the weight room, after film, always doing extra stuff. So now, when we're on the field together, you see we're grinding and shining together, stuff and things like that.
All the way on your far right.
Hey, Dante.
you
So
doing?
obviously last year you guys started off 3-0. This year you started off 3-0 as well. What's the biggest difference you've seen in this year's team compared to last, and how do you think it's going to help you in big games like against Michigan?
So I think the biggest difference is our ability to deal with adversity and our togetherness. Last year, most of us believed that if we were in a game with SMU last year with that team we had, that we necessarily wouldn't have been in the predicament we came in. But that was just the biggest thing this year is our ability to, get back to neutral and be able to grind through the 4 quarters of these tough games that we're faced with.
All the way in the back, middle right.
Hey, Dante, going off kind of what you just said, your guys had a great performance in the 4th quarter against SMU. How important was that for you guys to have that sort of success as you get ready to take on Michigan?
It just shows that, in these games, you're going to have the highs and lows. You got to be able to get through those. So when we go out and play Michigan, everything's not going to go our way. And having that fourth quarter and second half success in SMU and battling with adversity, that's going to help us when we get to the Michigan game and have to battle for 4 quarters.
Front row here. Wayne.
What's it like having to practice against Dante Demas, Rock Jarrett, and the rest of those guys every day, and how does it help your development?
Those guys are high caliber athletes. You know, you get different qualities from each of them. Going against them every rep is just, you can't be a step too slow. Your technique can't be off. Those guys, they work extremely hard, and that's why they're, you know, top 3 receiving core in the country. So, like, when you go against them, you know, you're going to have to battle to get some pass breakups or interceptions because they're not going to let anything go by them.
In the middle.
Dante, I mean, I'm sure you obviously have known for a bit, but, you know, bringing out the script uniforms against Michigan State, you know, I'm sure you guys maybe don't pay too much attention to the uniforms and stuff like that, but do you get an added, you know, sense of excitement about wearing those? I know they're pretty popular among the players.
Yeah, they're popular among the players too. We always want to wear script. It's to us, it's like the best looking uniforms, and it has a tradition going back. If you ever talk to KJ, it goes back to a couple of players he played with. But being able to wear those uniforms and represent what they stand for is, you know, a good thing for us.
Stay on the right side.
Hey Dante, Coach was telling us about addressing the penalty issue. He put up on the screen a bunch of tweets and things that were written about you guys. How do you guys respond to that as players when he does something like that?
It's more like we got to do this for him. He's not out there creating the penalties, so like they're gonna put it on him because he's a head coach. He's the head of the Snake, so it's like, you know, if we kind of feel like we let him down in that sense. It's like that's a lot of penalties, and we're hurting ourselves and shooting ourselves in the foot. Like we're playing against 2 teams every game we play because the amount of yards we're giving them. So it's more like he showed us a video of the penalties and everything that was being said, and it's like now in practice the players need to hold a higher standard. So if you get an offsides, you're coming off the field. You get it unsportsmanlike, or you're talking to the other side of the team, you're coming on the field and you're getting checked immediately. So it's, as a players, we got to take accountability for things like that so it doesn't happen on Saturdays.
Anything else for Dante? All right. Thanks.
Thank you.